Ellen's reins. Hey, quick, over here! Yes, just like that. Stay with us, Corporal. Stay with us.
What's the matter? What happened?
Tahar's awake.
Lord Marshal Arendir. What in blazes are you doing here?
It's a long story, but I'm here as an ally.
Yes, and there will be plenty of time for the lengthy explanations later. First, I want to know how you're feeling, Tahar. Sorry to say it like this, but you look like shit.
Charming as always. But I'm fine. Just dizzy. What happened? I just remember Lycain. And my mother.
Your mother? You mean the Shaper?
Yes. It's hard to explain. She was in some kind of stasis when my father found her, and my father used her for his experiments. I don't know how to say this, but the blood burn, it was her doing. When my father died, she tried to call out to me by telepathy. That's what caused the plague.
All right, I think his head wound is worse than we thought.
It's the truth, Iria. And Lycain didn't only want me to stop the blood burn. He needed me to lead him to my mother so he could use her as a source for the Archfire.
Well, that's a lot to take in, I guess. But why your mother? You're speaking metaphorically, right?
I'm not. She is my mother.
All right. Start over from the beginning. What happened when you walked into that chamber? I'm sorry, but that sounds absurd. Utterly absurd.
Well, I doubt he's lying, King Regent. And actually, it makes sense. It explains a lot, for example, why he could activate the portals, enter Mullendir, and why he had this vision. Though I have to admit, it's not what I expected from our little trip to the Eye. Not at all.
Neither did I. But now it's my turn. Why in blazes are you here, Lord Marshal? And how long was I out for?
It's just anger now. I think we've moved past the titles. And to answer your question, you were out for 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
Yes. To be honest, if your vital signs hadn't remained steady, we would have assumed you were dead.
Which leads us to your mother. You mentioned something about Lycain banishing her into some kind of amulet?
Yes. He somehow absorbed her spirit to gain access to the Archfire. That's what my father always tried, and why he created me in the first place.
And I assume, by Archfire, you're talking about some extremely powerful source of magic.
The source of all magic, yes.
So the theories are true. Well, at least now we have an explanation.
An explanation of what?
Well, the Harbinger has gone rampant. Briefly put, the purity of light has taken over almost all of Leonida. The Eye, Greyfell, Greykeep, everything.
Greykeep? How is that possible?
They were already in the keep when Lycain gave the order, and we simply didn't expect it. It wasn't even a fight. It was a massacre. And yes, I know what you're about to say. That it's my fault, because I tolerated the purity in the first place. And you're right. I've made mistakes, and hundreds, thousands of people had to pay the price.
What about the Queen? Is she...
She's alive. The Harbinger knows he can't kill her, because if he does and word gets out, then he might lose the common folk's support. According to our spies, the Queen's Guard and the Purity have struck some kind of bargain.
Wait, so the Purity controls the keep, and the Queen's Guard just plays along?
Yes, it sounds absurd, I know. But the Queen's Guard first responsibility lies with the safety of the Queen. Whatever is necessary to protect her, they do it. Though I doubt Lycain's long-term plan sees the Queen at his side, which is just another reason to hurry.
But why? Why start a war against all of Northander?
To prepare Io for the arrival of Aeonir. You remember that nonsense his priests always preach? How we're the reason that Aeonir left us?
Yes. That's why they want to clear the world of sin and mages. Of defilers.
Well, it seems that they've spiced up their idea a little since it was taking too long. It's not just mages they kill anymore, but everybody who doesn't convert to their religion. Soldiers, women, men. They all get to choose. Join the Purity and accept the light, or be killed on the spot.
I knew it would come to this.
Didn't we all?
Be that as it may, your recovery couldn't be more timely.
How did you even get here?
Later, Tar. I'll tell you all you want to know, but not now.
What about the charges? Do you still consider me a traitor?
Is that still important?
It is to me.
That's very honorable of you, Tar. Given the recent events, your sentence has been lifted. You are pardoned. And if that is your wish, you can be reinstated as a corporal of the Northander army. That, and my apology, is all I can offer.
So you acknowledge that your verdict was a mistake?
I don't think this is something we should discuss now. We can talk about it later. Do you accept my offer?
That would mean a lot.
Good. However, we cannot make this official until Greykeep is reclaimed.
Since you saved me from the dungeon, what about my mother's body? Is she...
She's here in the Nexus. We saved her, but she seems to be in some kind of a coma. For a while we thought it was the same as your condition, but now that you've told us the full story, it makes sense. Her body is still functioning, but Lacane has stolen her spirit.
One more reason to stop him.
I was hoping you'd say that. Maybe we'll even get our chance sooner than expected. Lacane is marching towards us as we speak.
What about the charges? Do you still consider me a traitor?
Is that still important?
It is to me.
Given the recent events, your sentence has been...
That would mean a lot.
Good. However, we cannot make this...
For what it's worth, the encounter with my mother also changed something in me. I feel... different.
Elaborate.
Well, when I awoke my mother, it did something to me. She called this the melding.
Less fancy words, please. What did it do?
Well, I think it allows me to control a part of the Archfire too. Just like the Harbinger does.
Finally, some good news.
Indeed. Anything that can help us battle Lacane will help. But whatever it is, I doubt it will allow us to stop Lacane with a thought alone. Or will it?
No. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly it changed.
Lord Marshal.
Speaking of Nor.
The Purity. They are here, as you said. What are your orders, sir?
Put up defenses all around the perimeter and protect the Nexus at all cost. How many are they?
Hundreds, sir. And House Utran is supporting them too. Your sister is leading them.
Myra?
I'm afraid so.
Wait, you're saying that House Utran is working for the Purity of Light now? And they're led by Lady Myra Utran?
As I said, yes. It could be anything, though. Maybe Lacane forced her to comply.
Then make sure that she does not get harmed. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. There needs to be an explanation for this. Either way, we need to fend them off. Tahar, are you able to fight?
I think so. Yes.
Good. Then you're back in charge. Let's head out.
Huh?
Can you tell me more about your craft? About demonology?
And why's that? Thinking about a career change?
It's certainly a powerful school of magic. I could see myself dabbling in it.
Well, the moment you start dabbling with it is the moment you enjoy a very painful death. There's a reason demonology is forbidden. Most people who mess with it die. But sure, if you have questions, ask.
Let's start with the basics. What's the core principle of demonology?
It's simple. You study demons and their powers, and bind them to your will. And thus you gain access to their powers. Take a devourer. Once you've studied and subdued her to your will, you can access her strength. And I'm not talking about merely summoning her. You can channel her powers.
Is there a limit to how many demons you can bind?
No. If there were, I wouldn't still be traveling after all this time.
So, why exactly is demonology forbidden?
Because it's dangerous. And because demonologists can be extremely powerful. More than some members of the ruling caste would like to see.
So in order to bind them, you need to beat them in battle, correct?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but yeah. In a nutshell, that's it.
And I'm guessing that's what makes it so dangerous.
Among other things, yes. What can also happen is that your body simply can't handle a demon's unleashed essence. It can cause a brain rupture similar to what these masks the Purity use. And, to be honest, that happens to 8 out of 10 students of demonology. They subdue a demon, get excited, and let all their energy rush in at once. As a result, their brains explode like a watermelon hit with a warhammer.
How is that supposed to work? Channeling their powers.
Hard to describe. Just imagine that the demon becomes a part of you. You connect it with your magic, so to speak. And when needed, you can call on it to help you. It's not just the power that comes with it. It's also the feeling. Channeling the essence of a Zarek Nar, a Tribeater. It's a feeling that compares to nothing else in this world. You can't understand it till you've done it.
Interesting. Thanks for the insight.
Sure.
Blazes. Battle noises. They're already inside.
What are your orders, Tahar? This doesn't look good.
We have to seal the entrances. If they breach through either one of them, we're done with.
Then we need to split up. I'll get some of my men and make a stand in the southwest.
Then I'll take over the northwest. That's the hardest one for them to reach, so chances are they still haven't made it.
Then we'll help you.
Good. And Tahar, if what that scout said is true, and House Utran is really part of this attack, don't harm her. I know my sister. This does not make any sense at all. There must be a reason for all of this.
I didn't even know Lady Utran is your sister.
I don't blame you. Nortanda politics and family bonds are complicated. But yes, she is my sister. And since her husband, Lord Rickard Utran, died, she's the ruler of the Utran lands, which makes this development as dangerous as it's bizarre. The fact that House Leonida is supporting the Harbinger is bad enough.
I'll do my best. Good luck, Angar. We'll come to your help once the other entrances are secured.
Do that. Nihalth, guide your sword, Tahar.
Come on, Tahar. This way.
That way. All right.
Tahar, you're awake.
Shit. So they've already breached the outer walls.
They will soon. That masked thing on the other side. I don't know how he does it, but he's draining me.
Drain. Iria!
Ellen's reins. What happened?
The barrier gave up. Are you injured?
No, just a scratch. Seems like Scryer Elion got the worst of it.
Can you take care of her?
Yes. I'll get her to the Nexus as quick as possible. Be careful, Corporal. I have a feeling that masked priest wasn't Lycaon's only ace up the sleeve.
Probably not. Stay safe, Iria.
Shit, this doesn't look good.
Yes. We'll make short work of them. You read my mind. One down!
Not the real one. Finally.
Another illusion.
I would have guessed. Who was that?
If I had to make a guess, I'd say he's one of his commanders.
Fine.
Sure.
Yes, of course.
You picked the wrong enemies.
Help me, somebody!
They killed one of our heroes.
Come on, don't die on us now.
Anything on your mind? Got it.
Finally.
Will do. As you want. Everything has an end.
Go.
A fine plan. The southwest, the southeast, and the northeastern entrance are still undefended.
Then we need to take care of them.
Sure.
Got it.
Zarek's fangs. Zal Raka.
What's the situation? I don't see any Purity men around here.
No, not Purity, but someone else. According to my scout, they're gathering their forces down that valley. My gut tells me they're waiting for reinforcements.
If it's not the Purity, who are we dealing with? Another one of the royal houses?
No, I don't think so. To me, they look like bandits. But they're fighting under Aeonir's banner. And the man my Kayran hunter took down had the Purity symbol tattooed right across his forehead.
Sounds a lot like the Bane to me. The ones who massacred that Northander outpost in Leafshade.
Huh. Yeah, that fits.
Damn it. What's the plan then?
Well, now that you're here, I say you move out and crush them. We'll hold our position and cover your backs.
Simple enough.
All right then. Move out. What do we need?
I understand. That way. All right.
As you required.
Fine.
Got it.
Yes, of course.
Pathetic.
You'll regret this.
Fine.
I understand.
Sure. Everything has an end. Sure.
They will fall.
A fine plan.
They will...
Let's see what we can do. As you want.
Got it.
The fabled pariah. Interesting.
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
My words exactly.
Well, I will...
Not bad, Tahar. Not bad.
Why are you doing this? Throwing your lives away for some deluded madman?
Deluded? You're confusing something, Tahar. The Harbinger is pure. We're pure. You. People like you are who are making this necessary. It wasn't always like that, you know. A long time ago, this world was a world of peace. But then man gave in to temptation. They were weak, and they chose sin over virtue, sin over purity. And now look where we stand. Our history is a testament to our corruption. Wars, rape, hunger, illness. They are Aeronir's punishment for defying him. But that era has come to an end. We will make the world pure again and make it worthy of Aeronir's return.
You're fanatics. You've completely lost your mind.
On the contrary, we found it. But you're beyond repentance, so let's save ourselves the breath and end this already.
What the?
Go after me and lose your city and your friend, or save them and let me go. Your choice.
Secure the entrance.
Damn it! I need healing.
Interesting. That way. All right.
A trap. I should have seen that.
Their leader got away.
I figured. But it won't be the last time we see her. We secured the entrance. That's what matters. What about the rest of the city? They attacked from all sides at once.
Yes, I know. We'll take care of it. Just hold your position for now. Once all this is over, we'll meet at the Nexus.
Understood. Don't die, Tahar.
I'll do my best.
There's still 2 entrances we haven't covered yet. Let's hope it's not too late. Fine.
You're here. Good. I assume that means the Northwest is secured.
It is. How about you?
Well, we managed to fend off their first attack. They are purity, though.
What then?
Mercenaries. They don't have a banner, so they could be about anyone. Thing is, they've put up a siege weapon of sorts right up that hill, which prevents us from retaliating.
What kind of weapon?
I don't know. It looks like some kind of catapult, but it seems to be magic-fueled and throws fireballs which cause massive damage. We're out of reach, but the moment we move against their camp, it'll decimate us within seconds.
Whereas, if you attack the machine directly, the mercenaries themselves will fall into your backs.
Or swarm right into the city, yes. We weren't enough to split up, but now we are. Good timing, in other words.
So you want us to destroy that weapon?
Yes. The moment it is down, we'll go for their strong point.
We could also take on their camp by ourselves.
I don't think that's wise, Tahar. You'll be outnumbered, but I can't stop you.
What is it?
What is it? You need to destroy that machine. Otherwise, we can't move out.
Got it. Sure. Will do. Leave it to me. Let us make this quick. Pathetic.
That's all. I'm only getting started. We'll make sure. Healing!
They killed one of our heroes.
Don't die on us now.
Sure. There it is. Take it down.
Shit! Kill them!
Understood. You picked the wrong enemies. That should do it.
Child play.
Blazes. This is Commander Katras from Aenir's Death.
So he's fighting for the Purity. What a surprise.
Katras, why?
Don't talk, friend. They killed one of our heroes.
Help me, for heck's sake! Don't die on us now.
Blazes! Help me, somebody!
Blazes, Tahar. Now I know why Lakain wants you dead. You really know how to fight.
Bloody traitor. Siding with the Harbinger? Really?
Oh, come on. Don't be so dramatic. It's not as if we were ever allies to begin with. Look, this isn't personal. Lakain and his fanatics took down my camp and gave me a choice. Repent and accept the light, or have some stern-faced priest ram a bloody pike up me arse. So, unless you have some odd fantasies that I don't want to know about, don't tell me you wouldn't have done the same.
A loyal man wouldn't have.
Well, good thing I never swore loyalty to you or the Empire, isn't it? Don't kid yourself, Tahar. You would have done the exact same thing. Pretend all you like. In the end, we're all selfish pieces of shit. And the only difference between me and you is that I'm honest about it.
Any last words?
I hate to disappoint, but we're not quite there yet, friend. Goodbye, Tahar. Too bad we couldn't be on the same side this time.
What the?
A teleport rune. Wise choice.
Let's get back to Angar.
Got it. Oh. That way. All right. Certainly. Really?
We drove them back. Their commander escaped, though. He had a teleport rune.
Hard luck, I suppose. Well, you secured the entrance, that's what matters. What about the rest of the city? Are we safe?
Not yet. Hold your position for now. We'll meet at the Nexus once all this is over.
Understood. Tiara's blessings, Tahar.
Interesting. Almost through. Just one more entrance to go. We should hurry.
Huh. I've said it before, and I'll...
What the... Tahar? Is that you?
I'll explain later. What's the situation? What are those things?
My newest invention. Or, to be more precise, my newly recovered Shaper technology. I call them, Death Towers.
Death Towers?
Yeah. While you were asleep, I did some more research on how the Shapers use the Nexus to defend their city. This is the result, though they won't hold forever. And my gut tells me the Utrans are up to something, because I haven't seen Lady Moira yet.
So it's true. House Utran is fighting for the Purity.
Yeah, and quite viciously so. In other words, your awakening couldn't be more timely.
What do you suggest?
Well, as you know, I'm not the best at tacticians, but from what I saw, the attacks are currently coordinated by 2 Utran commanders. If we stay here and make sure no one gets through, you could take out those commanders in the meantime.
Got it. I'll come back when it's done.
Good. Nihalf, guide your blade, friend.
Quite the breeze, isn't it?
I understand.
Yes, of course.
Will do.
As you want. Your struggle is pointless.
You read my mind.
A fine plan.
Oh.
Huh. That looks useful. Good find.
That way. All right.
Everything has an end. That's Tahar! Get him! He's dead. Let's find the other one. As you require.
Pathetic.
Whatever's necessary.
Let's...
Got it.
leave it to me.
That was the last one. Let's head back to Iskrim. They will fall. Fine. What is it? Ah, yes. Yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
Tahar, did you deal with those commanders yet?
Yes. What the?
Finally!
Lady Utran, what's the meaning of...
All right, one more step, I'm gonna slit my throat.
Tell me one reason I shouldn't kill you.
Let me think. How about the fact that if I die, the Utran lands will fall into chaos and you'll have another civil war at hand? Just what you need right now, isn't it? Not to mention that the poor, precious Lord Marshal would be heartbroken, losing his sister like that.
I'm afraid she's right. We cannot let her die.
I don't understand. Why did you betray the crown? Explain yourself.
Explain yourself. Oh, Tahar, you must understand the situation. You're not in a position to give orders. So here's what's gonna happen. You will let me walk away unharmed. You can have my soldiers, I don't care. But if you make only one wrong move, I will end this by slitting my throat.
I don't get it. What in blazes happened to you?
Who knows?
You're bluffing.
Try me.
Fine. Get out of here.
A man of reason. One more thing, though, before I leave.
What?
You will repent. All of you.
Niehaus hammer. I mean, what was that? That is... Wait, I have a theory.
About what happened to Myra?
Yeah, but let's talk about that later. I think this entrance should be safe for now. The Death Towers will make sure of that.
Good work. That'll help us. We need to discuss things at the Nexus.
Of course. Thank you again, Tahar. I'm glad you're back.
What do you mean? She was possessed. This doesn't make any sense.
I'm afraid it does. But again, I have a theory. The rune. While you were asleep, I tinkered with it a little.
You think the rune has something to do with this?
A rune. But it's probably best if I show you. Follow me, Tahar.
I'm coming too.
All right, let's see. Turn around.
Tiara's breath.
So, you get the idea.
Mind control.
Yeah. There are still some critical problems with it, and what I've done is far from what the Harbinger did with Lady Moira. But, Tahar, this rune, it has so much potential. If you thought what it does with the Godstones was fascinating, it's just the beginning. The Shapers, the Khazarlanthep, they knew their full potential. And this is the reason they were so powerful. Do you see it now? They...
Have you lost your bloody mind? Stop that! Whatever it is! Stop it now!
What?
Stop it for fuck's sake!
Fine. You're free. Go and take a nap.
Unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
So you actually possessed those men?
No, I mean, yeah, the rune did. Look, Tahar, I know that I was maybe a bit too enthusiastic here, but can't you see the potential? Those soldiers, they do anything you command them to, without batting an eyelid.
They still look hypnotized. Are they free now?
Yeah. It may take a while to recover, but tomorrow they won't remember anything. So it's not that bad. Who knows? Maybe they would have died in the fight if they hadn't been under my control.
And you think that the Harbinger controls Lady Myra, right?
Yes. And in an extraordinarily powerful way, if I may say so.
Huh. In other words, we need to find a way to break that possession. Right now, House Utran is under the Harbinger's control.
Madness. This is madness.
Whatever it is, let's tend to the wounded first. We'll discuss everything else in the Nexus.
Yes. Let's do that.
So many casualties. I just don't understand. We just ended one war. Now the Harbinger starts another.
Well, he seems to think he and his fanatics will change the world for the better.
Everybody does.
As you want.
Understood.
Yes?
A fine plan. Yes, of course.
Interesting.
Got it.
All right, let's catch our breath first. Angar, I'll talk to you when I'm ready to discuss the next steps.
Good. I'll be waiting.
What's next?
As you want.
Tahar, thank Nihal you're awake. For a while, I wasn't sure you'd make it. How do you feel? Out on the battlefield, we didn't really get the chance to talk.
I just found out that my mother is a Shaper and that she's still alive. And now Rondar Lakain took her. How do you think I feel?
Bad, I assume. Sorry, that was probably a stupid question to ask. It's a tragedy. The purity on the loose, with the power of the Archfire in the Harbinger's hands. Who could have seen that coming? For what it's worth, I'm sorry I had to go through this. I truly am.
I always had my doubts about Lakain. Only I didn't expect this to happen.
I figure.
Be that as it may, all that matters now is that we stop him. What about you, Iskrim? I doubt whatever bargain you struck with Lakain still stands. You're still here. So I guess you aren't planning on leaving.
Me? No, of course not. Where would I go, Tahar? There's no way of knowing what the Purity would do if they caught me. He wanted to kill you, so maybe Lakain doesn't want to leave any witnesses. Not to mention that we're still in the ancient Shaper city, full of marvels waiting to be discovered.
Well, I'm glad you're able to see it that way.
A frown hasn't dealt anyone yet, has it? There's, one more thing I wanted to ask you. It's about your mother. About Andra.
Ask.
I'm not sure how to say this, but she was a Shaper. A living Shaper.
What are you getting at?
All tragedy aside, you have to understand how fascinating this is. A Shaper who survived through the Aeons. And as if that weren't enough, you even turn out to be related. I have so many questions, Tahar, so many questions. Iria said at the moment Andra and you melded, she made you see something. Fragments of her past. Now, I can't help but wonder, what was it? Did you see Mullendir in all its former glory?
I didn't see anything. It's more like I suddenly have that sense of familiarity. Especially here.
But that's even more exciting. She must have transferred some of her memories onto you. I wonder if that's part of this melding ritual. Look, Tahar, I'm not sure how to say this, but how would you feel about it if I examine her? There's so much we could learn from her, even if her mind has left her body.
What do you mean by examine? We're not talking about a dissection, are we?
What? No, of course not.
Why? What are you hoping to gain from that?
You mean apart from being able to examine the body of a living Shaper? There's much we could learn. Maybe we could even find something that helps us fight Lakain.
If you really think it helps, all right, do it.
You really just said that? Point B, Hal. Thank you. I'll talk to Undergast as soon as possible. His knowledge will be a great help. It'll be a while before we can start, but we'll do it as soon as possible.
Interesting.
Tahar, ready to discuss the next steps?
You didn't tell me yet. How exactly did you get here? Weren't you in Greyfell when the Harbinger took over?
No, I wasn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. But we were on our way back the night it happened. As you can imagine, it was a hard choice to make. But eventually, I left my pride behind and realized attacking Greykeep with the little division I was traveling with would have been suicide.
So you fled?
We retreated. The rest is simple. We went to Iskander because we had heard the rumors about your army. There we met one of your scouts, and then the elven woman, Iria of Finnonmere.
Oh, she decided to let you in?
Correct. You know the rest. Your people were a bit distrustful at first, and I don't blame them. After all, they'd been fighting the Royal Army not too long ago. But eventually, they realized that we were on the same side.
I hope that we are.
We are. Trust me.
I want to talk about ceann-feadhna. His death.
Well, what is there to say? As I heard the story, he didn't leave you much choice.
So you're not angry?
For you defending your life? No. I never understood why he was so obsessed with hunting you down to begin with.
But he was acting on your orders.
Well, yes, strictly spoken, he was. You were a traitor. Or at least, that's what we thought back then. That witch hunt in Iskander, the battle at the Eye, that was his choice.
Why? Why did he want me dead so badly?
Well, I can only guess. But to me, it seemed as if he felt as if you had, I don't know, betrayed him. He always spoke highly of you. Did you know that? At times, it almost felt as if he considered you his own kin.
I thought so.
You see, Tahar, in the end, both he and I are men born from war. Seeing people die at your command, hearing the widows and the orphans cry as a result of your choices, it changes you. You need to find a way to deal with it. And ceann-feadhna did so by shutting off his emotions entirely. Or, at least, to the outside. But in the end, he always did what he thought was best for Northander. He saw the Harbinger's true face, even before he revealed it. And I brushed it off as his usual distrust towards anyone, which was, as you know, a fatal mistake. And who knows, maybe if I had listened, it would never have come to this.
Without the Harbinger, I'd be dead.
That's true. But this discussion isn't leading us anywhere, Tahar.
There's just one thing I still can't wrap my head around. How did Lekain become so powerful? How could he rally so many people behind him?
The big question, isn't it? In the end, I think it boils down to the fact that he poured salt into the wounds the Mage Wars had left in Northander. You see, it's not hard to rally people behind you if they are desperate enough. He just gave them a simple answer to a complex question. And the people believed him. Though I don't consider him a pragmatist, he really believes in what he says, that Aeonia will return once mankind has repented. Which worries me even more. There's nothing more dangerous than fanaticism fueled by magical power. Your father is the best example.
I am.
Good. Then let's call your companions.
Good. Now that you're all here, I'd like to plan how we proceed. As...
Tahar, I think you should allow yourself some more rest. You were in a coma for more than a month, and we still don't know what that melding actually did to you.
Isn't it obvious? It made him more powerful.
Yeah, but where does that power come from? What effect does it have on the human body or the psyche? We don't know.
It doesn't matter if I'm all right or not. We can't waste any more time.
Fine. Then go on.
Thank you. So, our objective is clear. We need to defeat the Purity of Light and save my mother. Angar, am I right to assume that Lacane made Greykeep his new base of operations?
Correct. It's the center of his power, which is both good and bad. It's bad because Greyfell was built to withstand any kind of ambush.
And why is it good?
Because it also means if we succeed and reconquer Greyfell, we'll cut off the snake's head. Once we kill Lacane, the Purity will fall. However, there's no point in fooling ourselves. That battle for Greyfell will be bloody, and if we want to have even the slightest chance of winning, we need to join the remaining houses.
Ultran, Hallet, and Wulfgar.
Yes. If we put this army together with theirs, we might stand a chance. Also, you should see if you can strengthen the alliances you already have, Tahar. I have a plan regarding that, so we can talk further once this meeting has been concluded.
So do I.
All right. So where do we start?
It's up to you. But before we can even think about arranging a conclave between the houses, we need to break that spell the Harbinger put on my sister Myra. Isgrim, any ideas?
Actually, it should be simple. We need to find the one controlling her, take the rune, and, well, destroy it in the forge.
And who is controlling her? What if it's the Harbinger himself?
I doubt it. The manipulator has to be physically close to his subject, so it'll most likely be someone in Lady Myra's army. But your rune will react to another rune's presence, so once that person is near, you'll feel it.
Good. Then I have a plan. The Harbinger has taken up position in Iskander, between the Utran and the Everlight border. You know that place, Tahar. It's where your father started his rebellion.
The Loyalist camp. So what's your plan?
We strike in full force and take the castle. He'll be forced to initiate a counterattack, and my sister's armies, the Utran army, will be the closest ones at hand.
A bait.
Yes. We hold the castle against the main army, whereas you, Tahar, and a small troop get behind enemy lines. You find the rune carrier and strike from the shadows. Obviously, you'll have to act quick. We can't hold against the entire Utran army forever.
What if killing the rune carrier won't break the mind control?
We'll just have to hope that doesn't happen.
All right. So we take over the castle, wait for the Utran armies to cross the border, sneak behind their lines, and eliminate the rune carrier. And once Lady Myra is freed, we will try to gain the support of House Hallett and House Wulfgar.
Yes, but we'll need to take care of something else before that. But let's discuss this when the time comes.
Agreed. One more thing. This will be dangerous, and our original mission has been completed. In other words, if any of you are thinking of leaving, now is the time. Well, then we best get prepared now. I'll tell you when we head out.
Understood. Tahar, I'd also like to talk with you if you have a moment.
Corporal Tahar. A word, if you will?
Who are you?
Private Miller, Corporal. I'm from the Royal Army and came here with the Lord Marshal. We've captured someone who we suspect belongs to the Purity. He was seen in the deserted village outside this city, and he looks suspicious. He claims to be a simple courier sent to deliver a message to you, but we didn't want to take any risks. He's outside, near the entrance to the caves.
I see. Thank you, soldier. Dismissed.
Corporal?
If you're like...
Tahar, it is good to see that you have recovered. This place and these people lack guidance without you.
They did?
Yes. The Lord Marshal tried to assume control, but as you might have expected, he did not have everybody's support. I was even fearing an internal power struggle, and I'm glad it did not come to that. I must say, Tahar, your mother, she is remarkable. I have always wondered what the Shapers look like, and now I do. It is fascinating, though I suppose this is a difficult topic for you. Forgive me if my words were inappropriate.
It's all right.
Good. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Yes? What is it?
So, Undergast, when you told me about your split with Lena, I got the feeling that you were more than just colleagues.
You are asking if we were in love. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Then let me start by telling you that the term love is undefined and that theories about it conflict one another. I have read a lot of books on it, and I've studied the poems, and I've come to the conclusion that it is ultimately a primitive, carnal urge that people have come to romanticize for the emotions that come with it. I, myself, never felt it, and maybe that was because I saw the underlying mechanisms. I always found it strange how people overreact so strongly to such a simple emotion, and maybe that very fact stopped me from being able to feel these emotions at all.
Well, what are the underlying mechanisms?
The desire to reproduce with a fitting mate. In fact, the orcs have a very dry, rational view on this process, but for some reason humans, dwarves, and elves do not.
Love is more than just that.
Well, most people would agree with you, and I'm certain that in your subjective experience it is.
So, what you're saying is that you were never able to feel love, but then Lena came along and you did.
No, it was not that simple. What stood out in our relationship was that we connected. I've never felt that before. You see, Tahar, to me, the bonds people have always felt peculiar, and I am not like ceann-feadhna. Her mind simply does not have the ability to feel these bonds anymore. She had them once, but then she lost them, as she became a dreamweaver. My brain is capable of feeling these things, but I am unable to connect with the outside world. I only have my own mind as a frame of reference. For example, when a person tells you yes, whereas he or she means no, you might be able to feel this discrepancy because you are able to empathize with her. I can't. To me, this person's distress would make no sense whatsoever. But then there was Lena. For some bizarre reason, she understood me and I understood her. Or at least, I thought that I did. It was as if this barrier, this shell that separates my mind from others, was pervious to her emotions. I know how strange it sounds, and I also have no explanation for why this was, yet it changed me. All at once, I felt connected. Do you know this feeling, Tahar? You have traveled with these people for quite some time now. Is there anyone you were, well, fond of?
Well, yes, there is.
I see. Then you probably know how distracting such a feeling can be. To be honest, when I first became aware of that bond between Lena and me, I was horrified. I could not focus anymore. When I sat down to write my studies, I realized after hours that none of what I had written made sense at all.
What did Lena make of all that?
Nothing. Unlike me, she did not try to analyze, to understand its origin. At the same time, she did not discourage me from pondering. I believe this is what made our relationship unique. Complete acceptance. She did not try to tell me how I should behave or feel, and neither did I. Even when she decided to leave the guild and I decided to stay behind, we both accepted each other's decisions.
Your inability to relate to others, is it innate?
Yes. If it were not, I might have considered my sudden connection to Lena as a symbol of overcoming. But it was not. Even though I felt connected to Lena, I was still unable to feel the same way towards others. This is what deeply confused me.
Am I right to assume that your relationship ended with your disagreement over the Creators Guild abandoning its neutrality?
No, you misunderstand. We never had a relationship. Although the feelings were mutual and we, well, acted on them, we never felt the need to bind ourselves to some close-minded societal construct. But yes, you are correct. It was the disagreement that broke our bond. Quietly, she left and never returned again.
What, so you didn't even argue? I have a hard time imagining that.
As I said, acceptance of one another's nature and decisions was a pivotal element in our interactions. Though I did notice that my unwillingness to follow her on her mission caused her more emotional distress than she usually would have felt. You see, if there ever was disharmony between us, it was when she tried to encourage me to embrace the world, as she put it. She told me that both I as a person and my studies would benefit from more first-hand experience.
Such as?
Well, anything. Traveling, studying the ceann-feadhna ruins first-handed, even visiting the city of Everlight every once in a while. She seemed to think that it could help me get a better understanding of the world. But again, she never tried to force me. I could tell that my unwillingness upset her, but like always, she showed acceptance.
Do you feel, I don't know, betrayed?
Betrayed? No. By betrayal, people usually mean when someone behaves contrary to what they agreed on, or more often than not, as they would like that person to behave. I always found the word to be very misleading. Desires, wishes, and urges are natural things, and I always found the usage of such heavily judgmental words to be very childish. Lena did what she thought was right, and so did I. I have not and will never blame her for that.
How do you feel about this?
That is a good question. I still think about her, almost every day. But the more time passes, the more this entire episode starts to feel like a vague, distant dream, the way an elder must feel about youth. I do not know how I would feel if I ever saw her again.
I can imagine. Well, thank you for trusting me with this, Undergast.
You have nothing to thank me for. If this conversation helped you get a better picture of me, I'm glad we had it. But there is one more thing I would like to ask you, Tahar.
Tell me.
Do you have regrets? Do you ever feel as if you could and should have acted differently than you did act?
Everybody has regrets.
That seems like a deliberately vague answer. It could indicate that you do have regrets, but it could also indicate that you do not have them. But I understand. If you do not want to share this with me, you do not have to. You see, I've never told you this, but I find your resilience to be remarkable.
How so?
Well, it is no secret that you have endured a lot of pain, especially your early childhood must have made a mark on your psyche. But still, you did not give up.
Well, it wasn't always easy.
Of course not. Either way, I think we have spent enough time talking. We should get back to the tasks at hand.
We should. So long, Undergast.
So, back on your feet again, aren't you? Good, because there's plenty of work ahead of us. Do you think you can handle it? Leading the troops, I mean?
Why wouldn't I?
Well, you've obviously been through a lot. Finding out that your mother's a shaper, and that you are the result of some experiment, that leaves scars, whether you want it to or not. At least all that explains why your aura has always felt so strange. You're not human, at least not entirely.
I guess I'm not.
Makes you more interesting, though. Either way, we'll find a way to get your mother back. What that fucking bastard did will not go unpunished. Trust me on that.
So I guess that means you're staying.
Yeah, you guessed right. At least for now. You're not the only one with an interest in seeing the purity of light have their fucking stakes shoved up their own asses. Now we should probably get back to planning. There's plenty of things we need to do if we want to get Greyfell back from that fanatic.
Right. I'll see you around then.
He will.
Now,
Tahar, what is it?
You knew about my mother, didn't you? That's what you hinted at back at the forge, before we set out to the Eye.
Well, the answer is yes and no. I had suspicions, let us call it that. But they weren't enough to go on, and I had no idea your mother was connected to the Bloodburn.
Why didn't you tell me?
That I believe you might be the result of your father's experiments? That you're the offspring of some long-dead, forgotten race? Tell me, Tahar, what for? I mean, at best, you wouldn't have believed me. And at worst, it would have cost you your sanity. So no, I don't think I should have told you. I didn't know if these suspicions had any substance at all. And I would have been at great risk, especially back then when you were still part of the rebellion.
Where did these suspicions come from? Did my father tell you?
No. And he never found out that I knew. Your father... I don't need to tell you how meticulous he was, do I? That's why he always kept notes of his experiments and studies. I found one. a notebook. The story's actually quite simple. Your father had gone out to meet with Aelot Iskander, and had tasked me with cleaning up his laboratory.
Really? He never let me into his laboratory.
I know. And he wasn't exactly trustworthy towards me, neither. But you know Asamo. His mood was never what you'd call stable. One day, he'd think the entire rebellion had schemed against him. The next day, he told us that we'd change the world. It was part of his charisma, I guess. Sometimes I think the reason why the Mage Rebellion became so big was less of Asamo's magical powers, rather than his ability to create emotions in his followers. But we digress. So I had found this small booklet on his table. It didn't look important in any way, yet I was immediately curious. I opened it and started reading.
What was in there?
His experiments in the eye. The ancient woman, as he called her. Your creation, these waxwork figures which he tried to infuse with life. It was disturbing. And at the same time, fascinating, as you can imagine.
Do you still have that book?
No, of course not. I couldn't even read through all of it, else your father would have noticed that I had done nothing of what he had tasked me with. And I have no idea where it is now.
I figured. That book, did it say anything about how this ritual worked? Andrew said something about how the Shapers conceive differently.
I don't think it can be compared to how two humans reproduce, if that's what you're thinking. But as for the details, I don't know. As I said, I barely had 1 hour, and I only got to the chapter about you in the very end.
So, why did he, create me? My mother said it was to gain access to the Archfire.
Yes, I think that was the main reason. Though I couldn't help but notice a certain, warmth in his words when he described his plans.
It just all sounds so bizarre.
Yes, it does. Still, I don't think you were just a tool to him. You weren't. Tell me, Tahar. Knowing all that, how does it make you feel?
I just found out that my mother is a Shaper corpse, and that my father created me as a tool to gain power. How do you think I feel?
You're right, I'm sorry. It was a stupid question to ask. Either way, I think we both need some time to think. As I said, Tahar, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you earlier, but I simply didn't know what to do.
Tahar, how are you feeling? To be honest, I thought you were dead. While you were in that coma, I was unable to read or feel any thoughts and emotions emanating from your spirit. You were like a corpse.
I'm still trying to make sense of what happened.
Yes, it must be confusing. There is something else I would like to talk about. Maybe you have guessed it already.
Your friend. Now you know what killed him.
Her. She was a woman, and her name was Mila. But yes, that's right. Now I do. It was your mother. The Shaper.
What do you feel?
I don't know. Ultimately, the question I asked myself is, can there be culpability if there was no ill intent? I've done many things which people might consider evil, but then again, I didn't do them out of malice, but because I needed to. Because feeding my urges is the only way for me to survive. I know the situation is slightly different from your mother's. She didn't know her song killed people, but ultimately it did. So the question is she to blame for Myla's death? And if not, who is?
Why does it matter?
It doesn't matter, but I would still like to know the answer.
Consequences matter, not intentions. She is responsible for the blood burn, and her ignorance doesn't change that.
Then, theoretically, your mother is to blame for Myla's death. At least I know now what happened. That alone gives me some kind of closure.
Do you hate me now? Or my mother?
No. Hatred is an emotion I rarely feel, if ever. If anything, I feel grief that the person who was dearest to me died such a pointless death.
I see. And what now? Will you stay?
Yes, I will.
How come? You found the answer you were looking for, and the blood burn has been stopped.
Yes, it has. But the truth is, I wouldn't know where to go. All my contacts know me as a traitor by now. I suppose I could start over in another city, or maybe even another country, but quite frankly, I don't see the point. All along the way, my life has revolved around the gratification of my urges, until Myla came along. And even then, the emotions people usually associate with love were different for me, and her both. So why leave? Fighting on your side is as good as any other option I have right now. Also, feeding my urges is a lot easier in times of war. There was more than enough blood in the past weeks, and there will be more up ahead. I can feel it.
For what it's worth, I'm glad that I can count on you.
It's good that you feel that way. Let us talk later if there's something to talk about, Tahar. Thank you for your time.
Let's see.
Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
You said you know where we can find more allies.
Yes. I'll be brief. While you were asleep, an elven messenger came by. Varden Merilith, one of the Moorhere scryers from Leafshade, sent him.
Merilith? What did he want?
Only that he needed your help. They, that is, he and a couple of his followers, seem to be somewhere deep in the Leafshade jungle, near the Halayish ruins.
Do we really have time for this?
That is something you will need to decide. But if we don't help, it might cause unrest within the Moorhere, who are fighting for us.
The old Hibernian city. But what do they want there? That's dangerous.
I don't know, Tahar. We will need to find out.
All right. We might look into this.
We should. Is there anything else you wish to discuss, Tahar? Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
About you being an assassin. You said that you might be willing to tell me more about that at another time. How about now?
I'm still not certain. The question really is, do you want to know? It might change something.
Then maybe we should leave it like that.
Probably.
About you being an assassin. You said that you might be willing to tell me more about that at another time. How about now?
I'm still not certain. The question really is, do you want to know? It might change something.
Such as?
Your perception of me. It is your choice.
Well, I wouldn't have asked otherwise. Tell me.
All right. Where should I begin? Do you remember what I told you about that man who bought me from the Greyfell Bazaar? My owner? I also told you that after an incident, he discovered my talents and made me an assassin.
I remember. But what does that have to do with your morality?
It's complicated. The incident took place at a festivity. A lot of highly influential people were there, servants of the crown, wealthy merchants, nobles. My master knew all of Greyfell's elites. As always, at these festivities, it was my and the other slaves' responsibility to ensure the guests' well-being. It must have been close to midnight when a man took me into his chambers. I'd learned to play along years ago, because resisting only made it worse. This time, however, was different. For some reason, that man wanted me to tell him that I loved him. I did, but he kept on telling me that I should say it like I really mean it. When I couldn't, he got angrier and angrier and started choking me. I had almost lost consciousness when I felt something break. I don't know how else to put it. It was as if my mind simply cracked open, like a crystal ball smashed against a mirror. And all of a sudden, that man and I weren't separate entities anymore.
I don't follow.
My magic, my dreamweavery, that's when it broke free. You probably don't know this, but the only way to become a dreamweaver is by shattering your mind. You are opening yourself to the thoughts and emotions of others, but you lose your own.
Wait, Dreamweavers don't feel and think?
No, we do. But it's differently than normal people. Me. The ceann-feadhna you're talking with is the result of long work and studying of human behavior. I know how to blend in, to seem like I'm just like you. But the world inside my head is an entirely different one. Again, it is almost impossible to put into words if you're